South Africa's political landscape is once again plunged into turmoil, as murmurs of discontent against President Cyril Ramaphosa have erupted into what some are already calling a political mutiny. Long celebrated as a unifying figure who stepped into power to restore credibility after the turbulent Jacob Zuma era, Ramaphosa now finds himself encircled by growing hostility from within his own African National Congress, ANC, the opposition, and an increasingly impatient public. This wave of dissent could mark the beginning of the most serious threat to his presidency yet, raising questions about whether he can survive the storm or if the end of his tenure is imminent. At the heart of the uprising is a combination of unresolved scandals, accusations of weak leadership, and frustrations over the ANC's failure to deliver meaningful change on pressing issues such as unemployment, corruption, and service delivery. Ramaphosa's handling of the Phala Phala farm scandal remains a thorn in his side, with critics arguing that his credibility was permanently damaged. Despite managing to escape impeachment proceedings in 2022, the scandal continues to shadow him, emboldening rivals within the ANC who see his vulnerability as an opportunity to consolidate their own power. Whispers of factional plotting have grown louder in recent weeks. High-ranking ANC members, some aligned with the so-called Radical Economic Transformation (RET) faction loyal to Zuma, have reportedly been lobbying for Ramaphosa's removal before the 2026 national elections. Their argument is simple: the ANC's declining popularity, evident in polls and municipal election results, cannot be reversed with Ramaphosa at the helm. They believe that a fresh face, untarnished by scandal, might rescue the party from a historic loss of power. But it's not only ANC insiders who are circling. Opposition parties, from the Democratic Alliance, DA, to the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, have seized on the moment, amplifying calls for Ramaphosa's resignation. EFF leader Julius Malema has been particularly scathing, branding the president the lame duck leader presiding over a collapsing state. Meanwhile, the DA has argued that Ramaphosa's promised new dawn never materialized, pointing to persistent rolling blackouts, crumbling infrastructure, and rampant crime as evidence of failed governance. Perhaps most alarming for Ramaphosa is the growing sense of betrayal among ordinary South Africans. Once hailed as the reformer who would restore integrity and rebuild the economy, he is now accused of dithering, prioritizing party unity over decisive leadership. His cautious approach, designed to keep fragile ANC factions together, has been reframed by critics as weakness, indecision, and a lack of vision. For many citizens struggling with high living costs and unemployment, patience has run out. The whispers of mutiny culminated in recent parliamentary debates, where opposition MPs openly question whether Ramaphosa still commands the moral authority to lead. Even within the ANC benches, silence and hesitation were noticeable, as fewer voices rose to defend him with conviction. Analysts warn that this erosion of support from within his own party could be catastrophic. If ANC heavyweights decide that Ramaphosa is a liability ahead of elections, they could move swiftly to push him aside, just as they did with Zuma in 2018. Still, Ramaphosa is no stranger to political battles. His allies argue that he remains the ANC's best hope of maintaining power, portraying him as a stabilizing force in contrast to the chaos of factional alternatives. They highlight his successes in attracting foreign investment, leading economic recovery efforts post-COVID, and championing South Africa's diplomatic role on the global stage. Yet even these achievements may not be enough to silence the mounting calls for change. The coming months will prove decisive. If Ramaphosa can weather this political mutiny and reassert his authority, he may yet secure his legacy as a reformer who steered South Africa through turbulent waters. But if the momentum against him continues to build, his presidency could be cut short, remembered not for renewal but for unfulfilled promises and a party that turned against its own leader. For South Africans, the stakes are high. The potential collapse of Ramaphosa's presidency does not just spell uncertainty for the ANC, it threatens to plunge the nation into a deeper political crisis at a time when stability is desperately needed. Whether this mutiny fizzles out or ignites a full-scale leadership battle could determine the trajectory of South Africa's democracy for years to come.